We have with us today Simi Matthew, and we are going to definitely have a conversation with Simi. Simi uh, has been the 251, right? 251st, correct?
No,
Uh,
that was in 2016. Yeah,
so
251st.
that's where I
Yeah.
wanted to start the ball rolling. Friends, Simi has been with Sokrati, as she mentioned, 2016. She was the 251st employee. So one of the early legacy pillars of Sokrati who have built for us to reach what 1400 plus kind of employee stock. So thanks, Simi, for taking out your time. Simi, what we want to hear from you to get the ball rolling is something we have been talking a lot in this work from home and the pandemic, that we should have a balance between our professional and personal life, which means we should have time to give to our personal likes and interests. We should have time for our hobbies, which is very important to maintain sanity. Um, I know this has nothing to do with being the 251st employee or being the second innings, but knowing your background, I'm not going to talk the details, but I want to hear your 2 cents for the benefit of everyone.
Um, okay. Okay, so I'm just going to introduce myself. Thank you, Manoj, for that introduction. So yeah, like Manoj said, this is my second stint at Sokrati, and I had 4 years in between, and I think those 4 years were extremely enriching. But the platform that Sokrati obviously gave in terms of nurturing digital marketing and all the knowledge that I gathered, I think that was extremely beneficial. And then, of course, being on the client side, you sort of learn you begin to learn that there are too many levers and too many things you're not told when you're initially starting off your career, and then eventually you start finding your way, and then of course everyone has their own sort of path. And I felt like my calling was back at Sokrati because it's such a young vibrant community that we have. Almost feels like college, right? I mean, this is pre-COVID, but of course, like if you had the chance to be a part of the office environment, it felt a lot like, working just out of your college library or something. It's extremely friendly and open in its culture. Coming to what Manoj asked, of course, like I think in the post-COVID era, right? The lines between like work and personal life have blurred out so much that essentially I think all of us face this burnout, right? Like over a year and a half now, we've not been able to completely detach ourselves and actually focus on things that we want to do. Essentially, I think over the last 1.5 years, I have started investing a lot of time into reading. Of course, like I'm a football fan, so I religiously follow the leagues, and like throughout the week you have so many leagues that pan out. So there is that much time that I make sure that I give myself. And even if it's not just that, right, like just detaching myself, watching a new series, or like just picking up a conversation and like trying and building upskilling, is something that I've sort of tried. I've initiated. I wouldn't say I've like reached the pinnacle and like I'm a master of anything, but of course, like I'm on that journey, and I feel that it's helping me a lot, essentially, to grow and at least like build my interest and then take me to where I want to be. So yeah, I think that has helped me.
Great, great. Yeah, so that's Simi for us. With that, what I want to hear from you is that being the business side and being the perspective with the client engaging, what has been your exposure and experience about this last year and a half, and how did we cope with it, and what has been our merit or strength, which folks should follow to continue further? So that's something.
Okay. Yeah, thanks, Manoj, for that question. So I think it's no secret, right, that brands have essentially grown exponentially ever since like the pandemic set in, right? A lot of brands, and I was talking to Manoj the other day of a lot of brands that we never thought needed an online presence, right? Like the P&Gs and the HULs and luxury brands like Jimmy Choo and all of these brands, which essentially had physical stores that you would actually go to and like buy their products, felt the need to start creating an identity of their own online, right? And essentially for all of us who belong to this amazing, ever evolving spectrum of marketing called digital marketing. It sort of exponentially grew the business. I think it has gone a manifold, right? Like, I mean, we are all witness to it. All of our clients have had this growth story that they want to talk about between 2019 and 2021. So I think from a business perspective, a lot of these brands have now started moving towards creating that online identity and trying to be present where the consumer, the end user is, right? Like, for example, like a lot of these brands essentially would have been at your supermarkets or would have been in stores physically that you would have gone to and, let's say, figured out and, like, tried at a physical store. But now they are trying to cater their experience, a similar experience to someone, to their customer or their loyalty base online, and trying to obviously create that identity. So I think in terms of business, of course, it has been great. Um, I think at the start of the pandemic, the healthcare sector was one that boomed like crazy, right? Essentially because of hygiene and a lot of things that we had to take care of with respect to COVID and the protocols that were being followed. But as we sort of saw that ease out by mid of 2020, e-commerce brands had picked up, and even though people didn't really want to go out, like, you essentially started, your shopping needs started changing, right? Essentially buying athleisure clothes, the clothes that you would want to wear at home and be comfortable. So e-commerce boomed as a segment over there. And then there was also like the food delivery apps that went the extra mile, right? Like, now they also sort of did your last mile delivery, which is getting not only food but grocery and other things that you would need. So I think a lot of businesses started thinking out of the box in terms of, how can they make it easier for the user or consumer to, be accessible, and also, like, at the end of the day, be the top of the recall for your customer. And this is not only for the traditional like e-commerce and healthcare. I'm also talking about BFSI clients, how they are now engaging with their customers. They're trying to build apps, build online portfolio. So there's been a massive growth, and I think that the general psyche in terms of like the consumer behavior has changed. Like, I mean, now everybody needs to feel, I mean, feels the need to feel secure. Like, you want to stay home, you want to stay safe, and at the same time you want to have your previous life, and like essentially want to engage with these brands. So building an online entity and building an online I would say face for your brand was something that a lot of brands have picked up along the way, and we've been witness to a lot of these growth stories. So I think that essentially is what makes that. I wouldn't say like COVID was that bad for business. In fact, it was just the start of something revolutionary. So
What, according to you, is the best way we should balance to cope managing escalations or an irate customer and our own scenario at workplace? What, according to you, will be the approach to deal with it?
see, Manoj, I think that, the productivity of the team or the efficiency of the team generally lies in the actual people that form the team, right? Essentially, what the pandemic has taught us is, and like I mentioned, right, there has to be a boundary that you create, and there has to be a point beyond which you have to say no, right? Like, you can say no in multiple definitions and forms and various ways, right? But bringing to your team's notice if there is a downtime that's required, or there's some sort of a slump that we're hitting. I think first, I think the mix that has worked with me, at least, or in the clusters that I work, is essentially being upfront, right? Like, talk to your seniors and like sort of open up to them if you really do need to sort of take a break, or like, take some time off. Let them know that there is a sort of like, let's say, a creative block that you're hitting, or like you're not able to sort of be more be productive at work. If you need to take time off, you need to essentially let them know. In terms of like the team structure, I feel that uh, this is something that needs to be encouraged, like the need to sort of open up to your teams and let them know if there is and you don't really need to you know feel bad about it. Like, if you need some time, you want to own up to your own, like, I mean, at the end of the day, we're all humans, right? Like, we all do need that sort of pause and that break, and every one of us understands, and especially in this virtual world. And I was telling Manoj the other day, like it's very
Yes.
difficult to gauge the other person's energy when you don't see them, right? Like we're not on video calls, we're all like, scheduling meetings and like having these calls just virtually. But when you work with someone physically, you sort of read their body language, you grasp onto their energies, and that's how sort of work functions, right, in a normal scenario. But when this happens, when you're working in these silos, in these capsules of your own, I think it's essential that you sort of reach out to people and not just your team, right? If you feel that it's too intimidating to reach out to your immediate seniors, like seek help, like there are a lot of people across the board. You can just reach out to anybody and talk to them and like probably relay the message. But yeah, setting the right expectations and letting both internal and external stakeholders know that there is going to be some sort of, I mean, setting the realistic expectations is something that I feel works and works best in the virtual setting that we are in. So yeah.
Fantastic. Yeah, yeah. Thanks, Simi. Yes, that's very relevant. And what I would like to hear from you is that what do you think will be the benefit and the advantage of folks who's invest the time of the curve or go through the journey, maybe right from an intern or a new campus to probably the AVP VP level. So
Yeah, thank you for that question, Manoj. And I think it does make a lot of sense to like, especially in my scenario also, right? Like, so, um, like I was mentioning to Manoj, like when I was a part of Socrates in 2016, it was a company that was growing at an exponential scale. Okay, like there was just a lot of things happening, teams were being formed, and I fondly remember that the entire delivery or campaign management, the digital team basically sat out of this was called BizOps back then. So we used to sit out of the third floor, and the first floor was essentially just, the finance and the tech team, and also a little bit of what today Minerva is. Used to sit out on the first floor, right? From that to now having the entire building and like, having this family grow from like what was a small intimate group of extremely high performing individuals to now like having an entire cult, so to say, because it's a very true saying. Okay, once a Socrates and always a Socrates. You leave the organization and you realize the value of the people that you sort of work with because they're so widespread in the industry. But again, and something that sort of always kept coming to my mind when I was working on the client side was when you're on the brand side, right? Essentially, what happens is you have one product, you have one service, and the entire organization as a team drives all of their efforts to like growing this, making a business out of it, selling it, like reaching out to their consumers and the entire process, right? But at a place like Socrates, right, like you have the chance to pick up and learn anything and everything under the sun, right? Like, I mean, there is so many avenues, so many channels, so many partners that you can essentially pick up, learn, master. And at some point, when you feel that, yeah, you're ready for another challenge, there is never a speed breaker to that, right? Like, people are so open to the idea of like trying and learning something new. Like, you can essentially like move from your current scheme of things to taking up some role in analytics to, let's say, tomorrow you want to take up tech. The sky's the limit at Socrates, and I feel that is something that, and also because you get to work not just on one business case but on multiple business cases. I think that's what makes the culture so unique over here. And Manoj, like he rightly said, right, there are so many people who have been here through the years, like literally have been a part of the founding circle and now are still here, is because of this value add, right? You can have an idea, and Socrates will support you. It's almost like an incubator, right? Like it's a place where a lot of fresh ideas are always heard. And I think that's the most encouraging part of being a part of this organization, and which I mean has no limit. I think that's the kind of place Socrates is in. And I would like to sort of break that myth that Socrates for new joinees, or like, let's say, it's only for someone who's graduating fresh out of college. Like, I have been outside for like 4 years myself, and I feel most comfortable when I'm back here because it's just a place that you can learn so much. And then at the end of the day, that is, I think, what gives you the satisfaction of your job. So I think, yeah.
So, since you just now mentioned 4 years you were out and then have come back, so you have been on the agency side trying to cater to various brands, and you have been to the brand side to cater to their in-house kind of requirement. So what, according to you, are the pros and cons to be at an agency or the brand or agency or the customer which would be there? Obviously, there are the pros and cons. And then what are the, since you again come back, that means there are definitely the pros which outweigh the cons.
Yeah.
So I would like to hear from you this perspective, the benefits of being on the agency vis-a-vis being on the brand customer side, and leave it to you.
Thank you. So I think Manoj, at like when you're at the agency, right? You, like I said, you get to work on multiple use cases. You get to work on multiple channels and sort of like take in everything that is digital marketing, right? But essentially, over the years, I think Socrates has gone from being just a performance marketing agency to now being something that has we have offerings across the floor, right? We are into CXM, we do Martech, we do SEO, we do performance, we do branding, we do so much more. And I think essentially being on the agency side, it just sort of strengthens your knowledge about not just one product, but multiple products, multiple channels, because you get to collaborate with vendors as well as brands, right? You understand the business case from both sides, right? Essentially, because when we work with vendors like Google and Facebook, they're looking for businesses who will sort of satisfy their portfolio, fill in their sort of requirements, and then build cases with them. And when you're working with brands, of course, you're trying to sort of not only deliver like execution support, but also strategically build them up ground upwards. And we have a lot of cases where we've literally launched products, right? Like I mean, this brand sort of just was a nobody, and today now we're doing their performance marketing, we're doing marketing for them. So in general, on the agency side, you do get a taste of both worlds. So I think essentially for someone like me, like because like I said, learning at an agency and probably and more specifically at Socrates never stops. Because it's just the culture, right? Like you can be whoever you want, you can pick up whatever you want at the end of the day, and sort of run with it. And it's okay to sort of like fail and get your own learnings from it. But at the end of the day, you've done something new from essentially what you were doing, let's say last year. So I think that is what has been a driving factor, at least for me, to come back to what I'd like to call home. So yeah.
I think various insights which you have brought about, various perspectives which you have brought about, have been very, very beneficial to all folks over here. So once again, thanks and a very nice conversation.